Welcome to Global Online Friends. In this video, we are going to discuss some important MCQs on environmental economics for your upcoming UGC NET in economics. And if you are preparing for UGC NET or any other state level set in economics, this crash course is very helpful for you. In this crash course, we are going to provide you complete theory lectures and we are providing complete MCQs lecture, and you will get mock test on entire syllabus. After attending the test, you will get solution PDF also, and you'll get notes on all the units. Practice MCQ set is available, and if you want to join, you can contact this number. You can just send a WhatsApp message, and if you haven't downloaded our Global Online app yet, you can download our Global Online app from Play Store. If you just go to the Play Store and just type Global Online, and you can download this app by following this logo. And after downloading Global Online app, you can search UGC NET economic, then this course is visible to you and you can access the material here. So let us move to the today's questions. Here the first question is, which of the following is an example of capital good? Yes, very easy question. I hope you know about the capital goods. The option A, food and clothes. Option B, tools and machinery. Option C, consumer durable goods. Option D, fertilizers. Capital goods means, as you all know, these goods are not finished goods. Capital goods are helping to prepare finished goods. So here tools and machinery, these are capital goods. So option B is the right answer. Very easy level question. So capital goods, you know, capital goods are physical assets that a company uses in the production process. Means to produce any other goods we are using these physical goods. These are known as the capital goods. And capital goods include such as buildings, machineries, equipments, vehicles, tools. These are all known as the capital goods. As I told you, these goods are not finished goods. These are helping to prepare other goods. Instead, they are used to make finished goods. The second question is, which of the following indices that the World Bank has developed is related to sustainable development goals? Yes, I hope you know about the sustainable development. There are 17 sustainable development goals are there, and World Bank has released indices which is related to sustainable development. It is option A, inclusive index. Option B, green index. Option C, poverty index. Option D, sustainability index. So here the right answer is option B, green index is correct answer. So please remember it. This green index is related to sustainable development, and this is released by the World Bank. And if you go through it, the World Bank has developed an index known as the green index, and this index is going to measure a nation's wealth by using a new system. Yes, where this green index is used to measure wealth of the nation, and while measuring this wealth, there is new system. That system is, the new system attaches a dollar value to each of the three components. All these three components are measured in terms of US dollar, and these components are, one is produced assets, second one is natural resources, and the third one is human resources. Yes, I hope you have got it. Let us move to the next question. The third question is, the name given to a tax which makes the firm pay for all the pollution damages it creates with each extra unit of output. Yes, as you all know, the firms or an industry are going to damage the environment. So for this damage, for creating pollution in the environment, firm is going to pay the tax. That tax is known as option A, Pigovian tax. Option B, tradable permit. Option C, coase theorem. Option D, first law of thermodynamics. So it is known as the Pigovian tax. Yes, very important topic in environmental economics. It is known as the Pigovian tax. So Pigovian tax, it is named after 1920 British economist Arthur C. Pigou. And Pigovian tax means it is a tax on market transaction that creates a negative externality or an additional cost borne by individuals not directly involved in the transaction. So whenever these industries or firms are going to produce goods and services, on the other hand they are also creating environmental pollution. So for this they have to pay tax. It is known as the Pigovian tax. Examples: tobacco taxes, sugar taxes, carbon taxes, etc. The next question is public choice holds that option A, public officials serve the community's interest. Option B, government failure cannot occur. Option C, society does not consume enough public goods. Option D, we should presume self-interested behavior on the part of public officials. Yes, here public choice means option D is correct answer. We should presume self-interested behavior on the part of public officials. Question number 5. The coase theorem has problems because option A, generally bargaining costs are not zero. Option B, individuals are not concerned with others. Option C, market always exists. Option D, all of the above. The coase theorem has problems because bargaining costs are not zero. So option A is correct answer. And if you go through the coase theorem, it is a legal and economic theory, and it was developed by economist Ronald Coase. And this theory is related to property rights. And this theory is going to state that where there are complete competitive markets with no transaction cost and an efficient set of inputs and outputs, an optimal decision will be selected. And basically Coase theorem is going to assert that bargaining between individuals or groups related to the property rights will lead to an optimal and efficient outcome. So this is about Coase theorem. The next question is market mechanisms are unlikely to provide option A, prices. Option B, non-rival goods efficiently. Option C, supply and demand. Option D, none of the above. So here market mechanisms are unlikely to provide non-rival goods efficiently. Next question is which one of the following is not included in the Ravenstein law of migration? Option A, most migrants proceed step by step. Option B, most migrants go for a short distance. Option C, most migrants move from urban to rural. Option D, most migrants are adults. So if you go through this Ravenstein's law of migration, most migrants proceed step by step. This is also true. Then most migrants go for short distance. This is also correct. And most migrants are adults because adults are moving for job, for other purposes also. But most migrants move from urban to rural. This is not correct here because when you study migration theory of Ravenstein, most people are moving from rural to urban areas. But here it is mentioned urban to rural, so this is correct here. So if you go through the Ravenstein's law of migration, there are major 8 reasons are there. The first one is most migrants move only for a short distance. There is process of absorption whereby people immediately surrounding a rapidly growing town, means people are moving from rural area to urban areas. Then there is a process of dispersion which is inverse absorption. Then each migration flow produces a compensating counter flow. Long distance migrants go to one of the great centers of commerce and industry. Natives of town are less migratory than those from rural areas. Females are more migratory than males. Economic factors are the main cause of migration. So these are the points you must remember about the Ravenstein's law of migration. The next question is when 0 to 14 and 15 to 44 age groups population of a country is almost identical, the growth of population would be called option A, rapid growth. Option B, slow growth. Option C, zero growth. Option D, negative growth. So when 0 to 14 and 15 to 14 age groups population of a country is identical, then the growth is known as the zero growth. So zero growth means 0 to 14 and 15 to 44 age group population of a country is almost identical. The growth of population would be called zero growth here because the fertility rate shall be probably nil here. According to Malthus, population grows in simple manner, arithmetic manner, geometric manner, None of the above. So if you study the Malthus theory of population, then you will come to know very easy question. According to Malthus, population is growing in a geometric manner, and food production is growing in an arithmetic manner. So the Malthusian theory explained that the population grows in a geometrical fashion. The population would double in 25 years at this rate, but the food supply is growing in arithmetic manner. So means food supply increases at slower rate than the population. India's 15th demographic census was conducted in option A 2007, option B 2014, option C 2011, option D 2009. So India's 15th demographic census was conducted in the year of 2011. So option C is right answer. So 15th census of India and 7th census of independent India was 2011. Please remember, in 2011 census was 15th census of India and 7th census of independent India, and it was started on 1st April 2010, with president being the first citizen to be enumerated, followed by the vice president of India, and the slogan of 2011 census was our census, our future. And C. Chandramouli was the census commissioner of India. Question number 11. In the context of census of India, which year is called Great Population Divide? Option A 1971, option B 1951, option C 1921, option D 1911. So here the right answer is option C. 1921 is known as the Great Population Divide, because the year 1921 is called Great Population Divide because the time India has low rate of mortality and high birth rate. So in the year of 1921, mortality rate was very low and birth rate was high. Because of famine, there was a serious condition. 1911 to 1921 period, decreasing the population due to incurable diseases. Question number 12. The phenomena of demographic dividend of a country is related to option A, a sharp decline in the total population, option B, a decline in the infant mortality rate, option C, an increase in the sex ratio, option D, an increase in the population in the working age group. So demographic dividend means an increase in the population in the working age group. So option D is correct answer. So demographic dividend refers to the growth in an economy, that is the result of a change in the age structure of a country's population. The change in age structure is typically brought on by a decline in fertility and mortality rates. Question number 13. Natural growth of population is the outcome of the following: crude birth rate, crude death rate, migration, marriages. So here 4 options are given. Here the right answer is option D. Both 1 and 2 are correct here. Natural growth of population, it is the outcome of the crude birth rate and crude death rate. Yes, natural population growth happens because of the following. One is birth rate, another one is death rate. Natural increase in birth rate and death rates are causes of natural population growth, and natural increase, it is the difference between number of births and number of deaths in population. And crude birth rate means it is the total number of live births per 1000 population divided by the length of the period in years. Yes, crude birth rate means total number of live births per 1000 population divided by length of the period in years. So current rate is 18.2 births per 1000. Crude death rate means it is the ratio of deaths to the population of a particular area or during a particular period of time, usually calculated as the number of deaths per 1000 people per year. Question number 14. Optimum population will be at a point where option A, national income is maximum, option B, per capita income is maximum, option C, population is maximum, option D, per capita consumption is maximum. Yes, here the right answer is option B. Per capita income is maximum. So optimum population will be at a point where per capita income is maximum. So optimum population is that population which produces maximum economic welfare. Please remember, optimum population means here the population is going to produce maximum economic welfare by using the available resources. So by optimum population we mean the ideal number of population that a country should have considering its resources. The optimum size of population is which along with the existing natural resources and a given state of technology yields the highest income per capita in a country. Question number 15. A population pyramid of a country shows the option A age structure of male and female population, option B age structure of male population, option C age structure of female population, option D age structure of rural and urban population. Yes, a population pyramid, it shows age structure of male and female of the country. So option A is correct answer. So population pyramid shows the population structure of a country. It shows the number of different age groups, it shows the percentage of males and percentage of females, and also it shows the changes in birth rate, death rate, life expectancy, and also infant mortality, and it also shows the proportion of young and elderly people. So here you can see the picture of population pyramid. Okay friends, this is about today's session, and if you want to join our crash course for UGC NET and SET in economics, here you will get complete theory lectures, complete MCQ lectures, entire syllabus mock test with solution PDF. You will get notes on all the units, you will get practice MCQ set. If you want to join, you can join at this fees. You will also get good discount, and if you join for paper 2, you will get paper 1 material at free of cost. And for this you have to download our global online app from Play Store and search UGC NET economics. Then you can join us. Yes, I wish all the best to all. Thank you.